Hello everyone, I'm Dave, joined by Tamoor Hussein.
Hey,
We hunted some monsters recently.
we did, and this is your first experience with Monster Hunter, right?
Yeah, the first Monster Hunter game I've ever played.
So I'm really interested in seeing what you think about it, because you're someone who's well versed in video games and you're submerged in the culture of it. So you've probably heard and seen a lot of talk about the popularity of Monster Hunter, both in the West and even more so in Japan, and maybe are one of those people that's kind of looked at it from afar.
It's always seemed like I've always been interested in it. Like younger, the draw's always been like big monsters, massive daft weapons, cooking big bits of meat on a barbecue.
Yeah,
but I just never had either the console or the inclination to jump into it. And towards the end of the series, before Monster Hunter World, I would talk to people and they'd say it'd be like quite inaccessible, and that kind of turned me off to it as well.
So, but now all that has changed. Not only is it available on all platforms like PS4, Xbox One, and PC
in like autumn, I think.
Yeah, and it's the most streamlined in onboarding people into the Monster Hunter experience. So it's really easy to pick up and play now. It still has its intricacies in the way you like outfit yourself for a mission and accept missions and things like, you know, building clans and that kind of stuff. But the game actually, in how it plays, is it feels very much like a normal action game, right?
Yeah, it felt I mean, we are fighting like how'd you say this guy's name? Is it Nergigante?
Nergigante, I think.
And that was the hardest dude in the demo.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was throwing the deep end, but after a few like easier hunts, I felt like I was slowly getting to grips with it. There feels like there's like a lot of layers to it. Like there's dozens of weapons, each with like some of them with multiple modes. Then there's all the items, all the ammo types. I like that you can change up your fighting style by just switching out your equipment. That's really refreshing to me as someone who, like, I got a lot of Dark Souls vibes from it. So I went in thinking about builds and about having to like build your character that way, but instead just like, I fancy shooting thunder at people, at monsters instead, so I'm just gonna have this giant daft bow gun. Yeah,
the depth of it is actually in familiarizing yourself with your own character's weapon and the moveset of it, because they don't have a lot of moves, but each of those moves, the way you access them can be different from weapon to weapon, and there's usual things like what range it's best at and what kind of ammo you use, for example, for the guns, and the other part of it is actually the monsters themselves are way more intricate and kind of exciting than they initially seem. Like even the standard low-level monsters, those are kind of like fodder, but if you like observe them and fight them and keep on doing that, you start to figure out, oh, they behave in certain ways, and you can figure out strategies that work well for countering that and trapping them and doing things like that. So it's one of those games that really is it's easy to play, but it takes a long time to really master, and you can never quite become a super amazing Monster Hunter player. There's always this element of things could go wrong at any time.
That's the kind of game I like, though. I like having that layer of risk. I mean, you see me being super inept. I'm the guy with the bow gun, and it took me even a while to just realize that I could just aim the thing. So I was kind of trying to use the lock on and failing pretty abysmally at it, and then they also gave me like a metric buttload of ammo, so I was trying to figure out what the ammo did. It was tricky to get to grips with, but like you said, at the surface you can play it like a normal action game. It'll be familiar to you. I think I was just a little bit overwhelmed in this demo just because it was literally thrown in at the deep end. Yeah,
so this is the extra mission, which I believe is going to be included in the upcoming beta. So the rest of it, there were a total of 5 missions, I think it was, but the first
5,
first 4 or first 3 were just the same as the one that were included in the last beta. So we did those real quick, and then we went to the Nergigante mission, and this is the Nergigante is the kind of flagship monster.
He's like
every Monster Hunter game has a new flagship monster. You treat them kind of like the star athletes on a FIFA or something, but like this is the new guy, and they're not talking too much about him in the marketing or anything, because if they're trying to court new people, talking about this new monster in really specific loving detail could be quite alienating, because they're like, I don't really know what this means, and I'm kind of like detached from all this stuff. But this guy is really cool because firstly you can see he's so difficult to pin down.
Yeah,
like I was using the sword, and it was and as people who play using those weapons they're very slow. So like by the time you've wound up an attack, he's usually gone.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm out.
And you only had 15 minutes for this fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's very time, and this is actually one of the fights where one of the new additions, the slingshot, I think it is essential, because one of the many functions of that is you can aggro enemies and kind of get their attention. So it was super important. We didn't do it here because we weren't a well-oiled machine yet. It was just me, you, and a couple of other people.
I think our team were pretty new as well. So
we had a couple of people who one of which who was just straight up wasn't playing, and the other one who was just like kind of like I don't know. I think they're in the
same situation I was in first Monster Hunter. So
yeah,
but I'm looking forward to like actually starting it from the beginning and learning my first Monster Hunter and slowly building up that skill set, which I think is going to be important for fighting something like this. And then you also need a really well-oiled machine of a team as well, right?
So like you could, while playing this, I could see how it would be in a few weeks time when we know what we're doing. Like you'd have to, so you can see like the white almost solidified calcified structures on him. That happens when he's kind of like annoyed, I think it is, or like
the spines on his back.
Yeah,
right.
And he becomes more powerful, and I believe he's like, I think he sheds them after a while. But like while he's doing that, you've got to quickly hit him and get him off him, otherwise he becomes incredibly aggressive and they do extra damage. So like when you're playing this properly, we'd all be using our slingshots to kind of give each other space and aggro the Nergigante over. We'd be using traps better, we'd be using bombs better, we'd all have diverse styles of fighting. Like, you know, you've got a range here. I'd probably be better at using the sword.
Yeah.
We might have someone else who's kind of trying to mantle the kind of monster.
But it felt like such an event. I can imagine just after being in the Monster Hunter world for a while and then coming up against this, it's like the pinpoint of your experience.
Yeah.
But obviously we got crushed.
As we saw,
we went in knowing that, or at least assuming we'd get crushed, because we had like 3 lives and they just went.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say on the record now, when this game comes out, we're gonna squad up,
beat this guy.
I'm gonna beat him to a pulp within at least the first 2 months of release.
There you have it. I think we've got a Monster Hunter convert out there, lads.
In 2 months, if it hasn't happened, like check our Twitters or something. If it hasn't happened, feel free to call me out on it. But until then, hope you enjoyed the video. I've been Dave. You can find me at Irregular Dave. Tamoor.
I'm at Tamoor H.
For more Monster Hunter World content, make sure you stay tuned to GameSpot.com.